Regenesis Nigeria, the future of HR in the digital age, with the spotlight on the agriculture sector. I am excessively excited about this because I think, and I said this to the speakers when we were preparing, I think that there's such a misconception about this sector and the digitalization of the sector that the people on the panel are going to enlighten us about, as well as maybe people in the audience as well. If you have a question, please post it in the chat. And if you have a direct question that you would like to ask, please post it in the chat. But before I run off with myself and with the questions, I'd like to introduce myself first. My name is Linda. I'm the director here at Regenesis Nigeria. Regenesis, of course, one of our learning centers in Nigeria. Our main campus is in South Africa, in Sandton, South Africa. But we're active here in Nigeria. Very excited about the Nigerian audience and what we are doing. Very exciting things that we are doing with our Nigerian clients. So welcome everybody. Welcome panelists. As we move through this webinar, ladies and gentlemen, just to bring you to par with the agenda, we will be each panelist will be introducing themselves, telling us where they come from, telling us where they are at this moment, sharing their experience, and then I'll initiate the conversation by asking a few questions to which the panelists will respond. So a great afternoon to everybody. Here's to a very exciting, very robust webinar for all of us on the panel, and may we add value to one another's knowledge, to one another's experience, and to those who are listening. Thank you very much, everybody, for your time and for your willingness to share your experience, your knowledge, and your passion on a webinar such as this. Shall we start with the introductions? Let us start with Judith Marie. Judith, if you would like to introduce yourself.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Judith Marie Chimezier. I worked at different places. I'm a human resources practitioner, and I worked on Ascona-led industry, a member of Dangote Group back there in Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria. So over the years, I did a couple of HR roles, from recruitment, performance management, learning and development, and then succession planning. But presently, I kind of switched a bit. So I am presently in Dubai. And I switched a little bit into the real estate thing. So that's for a couple of months. And I still do HR kind of because I do with a lot of people. You have the clients, you have your other business partners, investors, you do it. And so I'm glad to be here. To have this conversation with everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Judith. I'm sure you can give us a range of perspectives from where you were and where you are at this stage. That must be very interesting. People management, a new culture that you had to give yourself the opportunity to learn from. So thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Kefas, Mr. Zaka, if you would like to introduce yourself, please. Mr. Zaka. So Zaka I'll call him in a little bit later. Alfred, if you would like to introduce yourself, please.
All right, I will say good afternoon from Lagos, Nigeria. My name is Alfred Akinola. I'm the current head of people and culture for GShare Technology Limited. Now, GShare Technology Limited is a food delivery platform. We're a food tech startup company. We started last year. So as of currently now, we have about 2 branches in Nigeria today, so which is around in Lagos and Abuja. So I've worked in about different places before, so but it has cut across from legal to consulting to fintech to banking as well, and also to logistics now because GShare is an hyperlocal Then I look out the food delivery platform that allows you to order for food within a radius of about 5 kilometers to where you are currently. So we are one of the top competitors in the food delivery and logistics and platform in Nigeria today. So I can tell you that we are a company to beat. And apart from that as well, I've also gone global as well. I'm currently a management consultant with Freelancer, a freelance recruitment agency that's currently based in Estonia. I'm currently the senior talent acquisition specialist for technology. So what I basically do is I recruit for software development companies based in Eastern Europe, Middle East, Africa as well. I just completed one with a particular company in Africa. You should know about Sandy Africa in Kenya. So I do recruitment for them. I do talent acquisition. I also do talent development as well. So I've had this experience like cut across different organizations. So it has made me move from HR transformation to be a much more people-oriented person as well too. So that's what I've done for now. So, and I'm also a strong campaigner with the no-code and web development program as well that's currently going on now. So that's more like having a UI UX development platform and you building a website without you writing codes as well. So we have a lot of companies that have done that, from Webflow to Dribble and to all major companies. But even Notion just brought one of recent now. I'm talking about the last week. They started having some integration on their platform as well, where even software developers don't need to write much code to get things done. So I'm also a campaigner of that as well. So that's been me for a long period of time now.
That's good to hear. That's a lot, but good to hear. I think there's a lot that we can gain from you when it comes to that talent acquisition, because I think as HR professionals on the panel as well, I think that is one of the things that we struggle with. We struggle with overall is skills and skill shortages within the industry and within your industry specifically, because it is so specially skilled. Right, so shall we move to Omotola, if you would like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you so much, Linda, and good afternoon, or good morning, good day to everyone, depending on where you're joining from. I hope you can hear me. Please confirm that you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. Hi, Christiana, and hi, Tommy. I see my colleagues in the house, and it's quite nostalgic for me that, sort of like a work meeting as well, because I have colleagues on the house. Thank you so much for the opportunity. My name is Omotola Adedapo, like you know. I've had a bit over 10 plus years experience in the HR sector, in different organizations, in different sectors as well, retail, hospitality, heavy duty manufacturing, recently healthcare, and now FMCG manufacturing. Basically, it's been HR, end-to-end, talent development, talent management, leadership development, people and culture transformation. And I'm particularly very passionate about digital transformation. I'm a digital transformation enthusiast because in recent years, I've had to also experience a shift from traditional ways of practicing HR to get exposed to how we leverage technology, pushing our work in getting the work done, how we leverage technology in talent acquisition, in talent management, basically talent development, and also to help our processes be more efficient and effective. I believe that technology is like the best thing to happen to humanity. And the fact that, decades upon decades, from generation to generation, technology is one thing that never remains the same. It keeps getting refined. We keep seeing, bigger and larger ways and more impactful ways. It keeps manifesting. There was 1G, then 2G, we have 3G, 4G, they're talking about 5G, and all the amazing things that you can do with it. So I believe that the tech space is endless. The opportunities are endless. Sometimes I think that we are getting close to actually manifesting the powers of God himself yourself, if you allow me to use that word, the amount of, some things that you look back 20 years ago, 50 years ago, things that were not possible, things that look like, oh, this is only God that can do this. It's only, you have to have some supernatural powers to get this done. So it just tells us that. I watched a movie some years ago. I don't know if we've seen the movie Salt, how the human brain, the capacity of the human brain we use, and the level of things we can get done based on the capacity of human brain. It was just a very eye-opening movie. That movie changed my life, and ever since then, I've been more conscious and aware of the gifts that technology is, and how if we can just think outside the box, if we can be creative and innovative and be conscious of how when we know that what we're doing, there's always, so one thing that has helped me in different places I've worked is the understanding that there's always a better way to do this. There's always a faster way to do this. There's always a quicker, more efficient, and more effective way to do this. And I don't allow, so one thing is when I get into a new place, I don't allow the current realities limit how I'm innovative with solutions that I bring on. But that's what, as HR professionals, it's also what helps the awareness that we're here to, plug a solution into a problem. And then we find that we deal with many generations. There's the Gen X, millennials, there's the Gen Zs, who are naturally, it seems like they're more inclined into tech solutions or leveraging technology. But our job, again, as talent developers, talent builders, as talent management professionals working with line managers and functional heads, is understanding that it is not an age thing. It is not a generation thing. It is the way the world is of today. And sometimes we imagine that, our parents and people of the older generations, we are amazed that they actually kind of like, tune in to, people get exposed day by day. They get to tune into the realities of how the world is. And we just see that even when we think that they wouldn't be able to integrate with those solutions, we find that somehow they're getting to understand it. So I think the biggest win, the biggest task, the biggest assignment for me on my role is in the different places I work, which is a consciousness I've carried from organization to organization, is being able to understand this is where the future is headed. If as an organization, we are not headed in the same direction where the future of the world generally and the future of work is headed, then we're not doing something right. The most important assignment any organization has is to plug into where the world generally is moving towards, which is the tech age. And if we have a generation of workforce that still need extra work to be done to get them into that space, then that's our job as HR professionals. So the topic is spot on. The focus of the conversation is spot on, is what we need right now. And the fact that we're talking about the agriculture sector, because we see that the agriculture sector, when we get into the conversations, we get to talk more about it. But it's interesting, it's amazing that we have a set of people who are thinking of how to take those conversations even into the most rural, where you can think of the most rural sectors, which is agriculture. And I'm also using this opportunity to say thank you for what you're doing, for putting up this session together, for bringing up this conversation. I'm looking forward to learning a lot. I'm going to share as much as I'm going to learn. I have my colleagues here as well, and then other people outside my organization as well. And I'm quite excited about the learnings that we'll share today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Omotola. I think you touch on so many things that we are going to discuss, and that I hope that we get to, because there's so much that we need to discuss. I'm very grateful for your introduction. So thank you very much for that. I just want to check, Rebecca, have you been able to sign back in? Not yet. Okay. So the events team is catching up or following up with Mr. Zaka, as well as Rebecca, who are having issues with their connectivity. So shall we move then to Christiana? Christiana, if you would like to introduce yourself, also from Floor Mills.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Thank you so much. I'm elated to be a part of this panelist this morning. Oh, sorry, now this afternoon. And really, like my colleague said, it's an absolutely spot on topic. And I'm glad that we're having this conversation, as we need to do have more of this conversation. Okay, so I'll talk briefly about myself. Yes, I'm Christiana. I'm Christiana Olukone. I head the talent acquisition function for Flower Mills of Nigeria. Prior to that, I gained some experiences from various sectors, education, healthcare, and now I'm in the FMC, and then e-commerce, and then now I'm in the FMCG, which is core manufacturing. Okay, so it's lovely to be on this panel. It's an amazing opportunity to share, of course, our thoughts, our insights into looking into the future, how we can leverage the technology. I would also like to acknowledge everyone on this call, the panel members, my colleagues who are on this call. I feel excited already about that. I can see my previous boss joining from UK, Michael Imomo, I see you. Okay, so like I mentioned, I'm so excited to be part of this as number one, it fits well into one of the things that I'm quite passionate about, and which is why I'm proud to be working for an organization as Flower Mills of Nigeria, which our mantra is feeding the nation every day. And of course, that sits in line with the SDG goals, particularly the agenda number 2, which is zero hunger, and as much as we are carrying on our daily practice of HR or whatever we do in our daily lives, it's also very important to think about the sustainable practices and then those solutions that will not disrupt our natural ecosystem. We do have the global warming, we have the effect on agriculture itself, and of course we have a host of challenges, and we do believe that with these sort of conversations, we will be able to provide the solutions, or perhaps redouble our efforts in upskilling and reskilling the workforce to start to look into the future, how we can catch up to these complexities. Okay.
Thank you very much, Christiana. I agree with you. I think there are many things that we need to talk about, and many ways in which you as an industry can teach people about upskilling, can teach people about that, what Omotola also spoke about, that rural misconception that we have when it comes to the agriculture section, the agriculture industry. So I'm very much looking forward to enlighten people about that and put what you do in the forefront. SPD goals, 100% behind you there. Feeding the nation, yes, I also think that Africa is responsible for feeding the world. So we are the breadbasket of the world, and we need to take that up with advances, what we are going to talk about today. Lastly, Tommy, definitely not least, but lastly, Tommy, if you would like to introduce yourself, please.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Linda. Thank you. I'm so glad to be part of this webinar today. My name is Tomi Balogun. I am currently the Talent Acquisition and EAP Coordinator. I started my career journey as a customer service executive in the aviation business, and after which I became a personal assistant to the MD in the aviation business, then moved into the agro business, the manufacturing business, and became a personal assistant as well to the group managing director, who is retired now. So from there, I transitioned into HR as a talent acquisition and EAP coordinator. So I'm excited to be here this afternoon, my own knowledge. Thank God technology is here. Technology is here to make things easier, faster, seamless. So in the agri space that we'll have to discuss this afternoon, we're going to talk about a lot of things technology is bringing on board, the innovations in which technology is helping us in our own business, that's FMN. I'm excited to be working with Flower Mills of Nigeria because we are feeding the nation every day, like my colleague Christiana said, and we keep up thinking of new innovations to make things better and easier for the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tommy. Thank you so much. I just want to check one last time. Mr. Kefas, are you back? And Rebecca, also not back yet. Okay, the events team will continue to try and get hold of them. Before we start, ladies and gentlemen, I would also just from my side, because You know, at the end of the session, we always have so much to say, and I keep on forgetting to thank my colleagues for putting everything together. So in case I forget at the end of this session, to the events team, thank you so much for putting all of this together and giving us this vast panel that we can learn from. I'm very grateful for you. And then lastly, I would introduce one of my colleagues here in Nigeria, Akin. If you would like to switch your camera on and introduce yourself. Are you still there?
Hello,
Yes,
everybody. Good afternoon.
We can hear you.
How are you doing? It's a great privilege to have juggernauts from the agricultural sector here, from different fields, from HR to human to logistics to IT. And I know that where we have a gathering of good heads, definitely thoughts will be jamming each other, and then we can begin to rely on the outcomes of such discussion. And so this afternoon, I know it's going to be an impactful gathering for us. And I trust so much on the leadership of Linda. So we are not going to have education alone. We are going to also have entertainment, because it's going to be a lot of discussion, a lot of, you are putting in this and you are taking this out. So let's get ready to learn. Let's get ready to relearn, and let's get ready to unlearn. And I know it's going to be a worthwhile session. Thank you very much for coming around. We are looking forward to what each and every one of us are ready to bring to the table. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. So I'm going to kick this off, this session, with one of the most pertinent questions that I think is bestowed on all of us, and I think also gives the panelists, gives maybe more the people listening the opportunity to really understand what the agriculture sector and innovation is actually about. Akin, can you please put yourself on mute? We can still hear you. Thank you very much. So I'm going to start off with this question of why, and maybe link it to another question, but why is digital technology so important in the agriculture industry? And maybe just to link to that, as you get your thoughts together, because I'm going to ask one of you to start the conversation for us. I read a very interesting kind of report this weekend regarding the global wellness forums and summits and things like that. One of the first things that is on the future of wellness in the world for 2022, their first item on their forum is about dirty wellness, right? And dirty wellness to them is about soil and how we take care of our soil in which we grow, from which we eat. And they are predicting that in a few years to come, as much as we print on the packages of our food, the ingredients of the food, we are also going to start printing what the soil was, where the food were grown from. So that is, I thought, was a very interesting prediction because of where we are. And that's why I'm so grateful that you also brought up the Sustainable Development Goals when you were introducing yourself. But let us start first at the why digital technology is so important for the agriculture sector. Alfred, you started your conversation saying that you recruit also for the IT space and recruit those things. So would you like to start the conversation by answering the question or giving us your thoughts? And then I will move. If someone else would like to be after Alfred, please let me know. But from there on, I will move through the panelists to also add.
Please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay, all right, thank you so much for that. It's something that's, well, let's say because I'm in the digital space, in the digital tech space, so it's something that if we are not careful, we might lose focus about. So, but one of the things that I see that like digital innovation is transforming agriculture into is first, it helps us to increase the agricultural efficiency. Now, you see, COVID-19 has revealed a lot of weaknesses in the agricultural sector. For example, the supermarkets then, like during the COVID-19 period, we're having supermarkets that are facing out with stocks, and farms were being destroyed as well, and overproduced and food were being destroyed as well during the COVID-19 period. So you see, this mainly affected the efficiency, the inefficiencies of all these things, and lack of resilience as well to really affected the agricultural supply chain. And digital transformation can remedy to that, with the question you asked. Now, the first recommendation that I, as an individual, would like to give to is the first thing we need to do is to engage in the autonomous vehicles and AIs, because when we engage autonomous vehicles and AIs, it helps a lot. You know, the global robotic market has been projected by 2050 is going to go beyond over $20 billion as well. You understand? So, you know, when you have farming bots that help us to effect our harvesting very well, you know, that is a very good model for agricultural efficiency. You understand me? So, and also automation in farming as well can also lead to a significant reduction in waste, labor cost, and can also increase operational speed as well. It gives us that time to, it enables us to have increase in speed of getting these products out. Now, the second recommendation I would like us to do, because now we are talking about technology. Now, you know, when we take off a lot of things with labor cost and likes of it, we should also know that we should leverage on data analytics. And how can we get data analytics? By leveraging on drones for field monitoring. Because drones are a very cheap alternative to helicopter analysis reforms that we currently have. If you check most of these organizations today, the bigger organizations today, what they spend to present to you are data that are captured with helicopters, you understand? But when you have drones to assist you with this, it's going to give you that real-time data. It's going to give you that that ability to get what you actually want. It's going to give you that ability to know the particular effect from irrigation to livestock management, and also it changes the organizational culture as we as an individual as well. You know, when you invest in digital technology in agriculture, it stems from the top to the bottom. It's going to turn from the software development company that is practically bringing out that solution to the farmer that is currently in a very rural area. So now one of these is going to like the change in the organizational culture as well. It's going to help as well. Now, second thing I'm seeing that can also help increase these efficiencies that we are having in agriculture and also boost digital innovation is also the increase in agricultural resilience as well too. You know, as the climate and pandemic as well create a more uncertain and let's say volatile environment in the agricultural supply chain, digital technologies can also assist by getting lower, but it can also help us to achieve lower uncertainty and also higher resilience as well. So the first, like I made mention earlier from the increase in agricultural efficiency, the first thing we need to do is to capture data. By the time we have data, we will know that yes, in the coming 2 to 3 days, we'll be having a high level of temperature that is going to affect livestock on the farm as well. So, you know, with these technologies, the farmers will be prepared ahead. You know, like for Dayo, like sorry for calling you my name Dayo. So like for Dayo, she was making mention that she has worked in the e-commerce and everything. So with e-commerce as well, so it can also increase agricultural resilience, because e-commerce platforms can bridge the gap between the farmers and the retail market. As a result, the farmers can get up-to-date pricing information and get better control over their supply chain.
Okay. All right. So you mentioned a lot of things, and I would like to hear from someone at Floor Mills who I know is a large company and who I know is investing in these digital technologies. And if Rebecca was here, I would like to hear from Rebecca as well, because Rebecca is interested in organic farming and how we do that, and how do we leverage everything. So you spoke about drones, you spoke about you know, AI and automation, and on e-commerce as well. But there's a very interesting app that I've seen in a country, a larger country, where farmers are actually using the app in order to trade their goods, right? Even between the farm and the market, the informal market that they know. Omotola, if you would like to respond to that, give us some insights from your organization.
Okay, hi. Thank you so much. I also wanted to add a few points to Alfred's. Everything he said, quite insightful. Just to speak on the first question on why it is really important, I wanted to add a bit of also a very important point as well to that before I go to your question. Thank you, Linda. If you look at history, especially in Africa, in the nation, in this part of the world, that the rate at which development has hit this side of the world, looking at where we're coming from, if you look at maybe 17th, 18th, 19th century, before education became a thing and exposure became a thing, when people say, well, I'm going to work, they're going to the farm. Farming and trading were the major business, were the major occupations. So people have farms, they grow their farms, they take them to the market, and then they trade. So, but when we look at the evolution of how the generations of people that have been born since then, with the influx of education and exposure into the Western, what we know as the Western education, we see that we're tending, especially with this generation, the millennials and the Gen Zs, were the more tech-focused, tech-driven generations, and there's still a passing on of the farming, the farming trade, the farming knowledge and the practice of farming and all of that. But I wanted to point out that if we do not leverage the generation of tech innovation that we have, it is important because we're going to lose that touch. And at the end of the day, how we still are able to, harvest food, feed the nation, even as an organization, and different organizations are in our sector, export food items out of the shores of Nigeria, is because we still have people in that profession. And how be it the class of individuals that they are in terms of educational knowledge or social economic class, there is still a gap. But in bridging that gap, in ensuring that agriculture in itself as a practice does not lose its touch, there has to be an interest. There has to be the understanding that there has to be a way tech fits into that, so that as the generation moves on and as we go more techy, more exposed and more in tune with technology, we're not losing the touch of where we're coming from. And that's why that linkage is important, so that whatever generation that you're at, you're still connected in one way or another from, to producing food and then selling. So to your question on how we have, as an organization, been focused on this innovation. So we recently launched an innovation hub. In Flour Mills of Nigeria, we have two divisions majorly, the agribusiness and then the food business. So basically, it's been about having a team that is dedicated on research, what we call our R&D, the innovation hub, which I manage, by the way, coincidentally. So it's been a journey of discovering, a journey of research, a journey of looking inwards with the products that we work with, our wheat-based products, our cassava-based products, thinking and looking at, again, with data, like Alfred said, what do our target markets, what do our consumers, what do they love, what do they need, how can we stay in touch with our consumers, how can we stay in touch with our customers, being able to differentiate our customers from our consumers, and then thinking of innovative products that get us to continue to maintain our market share, and then at the end of the day, being able to provide solutions to the needs of people on a daily basis, the everyday Nigerians, and then even thinking of expanding beyond the shore of Nigeria. What are their everyday needs, and how are we innovating, products that would continue to stay relevant to them and help us to continue to remain relevant in our market. So there are different activities that we have a hub of innovation that focuses on that, and that's how we're leveraging on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I see, Tommy, you would like to add to that?
Yes, I would like to add to what Omotola just said. In FMN2, we focus on the young generations. For example, we've come up with innovative programs, something like what we called Prize for Innovation, where we get young talents to come and bring up their ideas. What can they bring into the agricultural industry? What value can they add? You see them coming up with very innovative ideas that has never been before to help our farmers to upgrade the agro-allied business. So these are things that we do in FMN to attract these young ones, you know, knowing that they are very tech savvy people. We need to ensure that we engage them. So we engage them from the roots. We've also done a scholarship of recent to focus on agro-allied based students.
Is it just me or has Tommy frozen?
I think she's frozen.
Okay, so Tommy froze. Okay, there's a lot of things that that she said that I would like to leverage on, or things that I would like.
She's back.
Tommy, are you back? Tommy, you froze for a while.
Perhaps you turn off your camera to increase your bandwidth.
Okay, so I'm going to continue with the questions that was coming up as we were talking about this, and then okay, Tommy was talking, and then maybe Christiana, if you would like to add to that as well, or Judith, because I think Judith is sitting on edge in Dubai to tell us a little bit about how she's experiencing what you are talking about, because I mean it is not an African country, and she has a different experience as to where we are. One of the things that went through my mind when you started talking, you have to understand when was it Nomatola, when you were saying about the generation of information that's handed down from father to son to daughter to father to son to mother to daughter and things like that. The reason why us humans started cities was because we learned how to plant, was because we learned how to generate food and not run after food. So it is so entrenched in all of us, whether we've become city dwellers or not. That is who we are. We are builders, we are planters, we are innovators. We just choose not to use that part of our skill. So one of the things that I do have, or one of the questions that I do have, and maybe Christiana, if you could add to that. There is a misconception that agriculture is rural and that it is just people who, you know, how do we make this industry and what you and Alfred and everyone is already saying, how do we make it attractive for a younger generation who we are also in the misconception that they only want to play on their phones the whole day, or they only want to be around tech the whole day? Is that true? What do you see in your industry? And like she was about to tell us, the programs that you are initiating with this younger generation, how do we get them interested in this industry? Are they interested in this industry? Christiana, if you would like to add to that.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Thank you, Linda. And thank you, Tommy, for leading us into that topic. Yeah, it's a yes and no. It's mixed feelings, if you know what I mean. But then, how do we do this? I would say, in response to that, would be to apply digital innovation, bring digitalization or bring digital technology into agriculture. That way, it has more appeal. When we say bringing digital technology into agriculture, not only in the way that we plant, it's also in the way that we track, we monitor, we gather information, right? So when we bring tech, anywhere there's tech, you would definitely find a Gen Z, a Gen Y, and some millennials. Yes, I do have millennials who are still crazy on their on their games, so crazy on their devices. So I would say once you introduce the need to leverage on technology, you would gain and get their attention. If you still go back to the days of farming where you had to use a hoe, you had to use a cutlass and stuff like that, yes, that's not appealing. It's not. Is that? I mean, I know when you're retiring, those things may now start to become a hobby more than something you do to improve the economy. But then if you look at what is happening now, there's a trend that I'm beginning to see. And yes, you do have a lot of agencies now, the NGO space, introducing access to farm, access to technology, access to funding, and the funding has made it appealing. We do have quite a number of them. I don't want to be promoting anyone on this platform. So there's such a number of them. And I mean, if you look at the last 5 years, there's been a lot of sponsorships from the developed countries on making available fundings. And the fundings were really to target application of technology to agriculture. So I would say when you present agriculture from a perspective of innovation, and you sell it from the idea of how technology can transform agriculture, to first improve efficiency. If you think about it, we have a growing population, national population, and then the world itself. There's a projection that we're going to double in less than 10 years, 10 decades to come. And look, where are we with this? Can we meet up with the production? Can we meet up with the supply? No, we cannot. However, when we leverage on technology, with technology, we would be able to access information. We will be able to monitor, we'll be able to track even farming practices. I do remember recently, I was following up with my GM, one of the subsidiaries, that's Golden Sugar Estates. And I was following up on the GM and the leadership team. They traveled to Kenya to investigate some farming practices, particularly on irrigation, right? So it's the adoption of this technology that makes it appealing. So when I say they had to go study, so we're looking at this technique. It's a flooded area. It's an area. Sugar Estate is in a location that is prone to flood. Now, what do? You still have to provide a form of irrigation. Then to determine the right form of irrigation, so our team had to travel to a sugar plantation to observe new techniques, new technology. And I mean, this would have been made possible by someone who said, oh, there's this technology in Kenya, come see how it works. So this is the advantage that digital technology begins to bring for us. And of course, it brings an overall performance in the agricultural value chain. The use of technology is enabling farmers right now and stakeholders to improve production, and of course, improve the production from farm to consumer. Most commonly, if you think about the automation for harvesting, seeding, weeding, and then the use of tractors, like my colleague here mentioned earlier, the drones used in tracking and monitoring production. So when we bring this sort of innovation to agriculture, I mean, our Gen Y, our Gen Z will find it appealing. Number one, it's quite efficient. We're reducing the time, the labor cost, the time spent on farming. It's more efficient. You have large scales of production. You enjoy higher returns. Economics, you achieve more economics of scale. And then, of course, there's the factor in between again that we need to now start looking at, which is the logistics. How do we get this food, or how do we get this product from farm to table? So I believe when we present our information, or when we present this industry to the young one from a technological or technical background, it makes it more appealing to the younger workforce.
So what I'm hearing you saying, Christiana, thank you very much for that, is added to what everyone else is saying, that the technology within the industry is there. And we are in the process of getting it used more often. But it's not just the perception that it's only being used on the farms. It's the whole value chain, like you were saying, from the soil to the mouth of the consumer, that includes everything that has been said. Judith, I see your hand is up. I would love to hear from you. And Mr. Kefas, Mr. Zaka, I'm so grateful to see you back. I'm glad your network has been, or your network is better. We cannot wait to hear from you. So Judith, if you would like to add to that, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Nida and Christiana, for the itself. You see, Christiana, I actually like what you said when you talked about the growing population. You see, the world is growing, multiplying the population of people, and that it is important that we sustain food and the agriculture industry. So, but a lot of people see agriculture as a dirty thing, but thank God for precision agriculture technology. So it has improved so much the way farmers work. It has improved the production of our crops, and also the the tele-agriculture tool as well. It's called, I think, telematics. So with telematics, there's a communication between one stage of agriculture to the other, and the weeding, and then it identifies when there's a weed that needs to be uprooted, and then it also gives quality to those crops. And then when we talk to the world now is everybody's an entrepreneur. And then the generation Z, they all want to be entrepreneurs. And talking about entrepreneurship, we put into consideration sustainability. Like I know agriculture itself addresses about 7 sustainable development goals, talking about zero hunger, talking about climate change, talking about good health and well-being, because if you eat right, you'd live right. So I think putting all of this into consideration, we want to build a society where we have people living and people working effectively and people saving the world. So we cannot save the world if we do not have agriculture. It is actually very important. Food, I think, is one of the basic necessities of life. So we preach to them what technology is, how easy it is now for us to have agriculture done, how easy it is for us to have multiple consumption. Like I remember here like I know right here in Dubai, we have sometimes you go to the market to get an orange, you see about 5 different types of oranges. They're all oranges. Some look like tangerine, some others look like grapes, but they're all oranges. So this is what technology has done. And then it makes it a lot easier for us to have options, for us to have good food, and then the exportation. So all of this put together, I think, makes it even more interesting for the Generation Z or any other person to want to go into agriculture. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think what you were saying is very interesting, is that each and every almost profession out there can be linked to agriculture, from engineering to everything can be linked to agriculture, because everything relies on agriculture. I would like to talk about that a little bit more. And I would also, I mean, but I think Mr. Kefas or Mr. Zaka, Kefas, if you would like to add to an introduction, the question that we are grappling with, or the question that we are talking about, is why digital technology is so important within the agriculture field, and everyone has given us their thoughts on it. I don't, if you would like to add. Kefas? You were on mute, sir. Please unmute yourself. There we go.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, sorry, an apology from my end.
No problem. No problem.
I've been having system collapse from my end.
No problem.
That we'll try and see how I can do with my end here to see if I can give you yes. Even though I'm having still repetition of the voice coming from the system. I don't think you can hear me loud and clear.
We can hear
me loud
you.
and clear?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay. I'm going to talk on aspect of the HR, or the human resources, the human aspect. These are the issue we're discussing at hand now.
Okay.
You know, there are about 4 to 5 focus lines which I want us to discuss about the digitalization processes, the future of HR vis-a-vis agriculture.
Okay.
You need to have a strategic talent manager that will be able to handle the future of your processes, of the digitalization processes. Somebody needs to monitor this. If you don't have a correct and precise people to manage it, the process and the system, definitely you will have a failure. Your processes must be clean, neat, and precise in all that you do, so that you can achieve the target of digitalization. Talent managers or talent leaders the idea to evaluate the process of digitalization. Otherwise, you cannot achieve. The other issue I wanted to discuss is that you have to replace the HRBP processes with the talent manager. The talent manager, they are also co-founder, or they will call them co-users with the company directors. They go to the field, evaluate the processes, work with the employees, check what they are doing. What is the failure? Is there any side effect or otherwise? The profit margin, you look at it and work with it. The other one I want to discuss is problem solvers. The problem solvers is a team of HR gurus. You will say them. They are there to, as a project team. You have new innovations that are coming into processing into team. With these new innovations, how do they handle it? The project team will be able to handle it. Okay, for example, let us say we have what's happening now in Ukraine and Russia. We need to have it in Nigeria. How do we go about it? The HR team will need to set up a project, monitor this project one step or the other, having a team that can grow a crop in Nigeria, a short-term crop, a crop that will be growing, let's say 3, 4, or let's say 6, 7 months. Now you can grow within 2 months. Let's say we take care of wheat. The HR team should be able to set up a team of expertise. We call them problem solvers. They are there, they will liaise with the technical team, evaluate them from time to time to ensure that a target set have been met. Of course, if you say you want to digitalize without having the HR to monitor and evaluate the activity of those so-called teams, there will be failure. The third one I want to discuss is the issue of people manager. You talked before this, the employee relation manager. These employee people managers, they are there to ensure that there's work harmony, no harassment. The job is going. They have internal relations and external relations. They are working on it.
Okay.
You also have employees. How do you motivate employees? Of course, you want to talk about digitalizations, you have to motivate employees. And in terms of motivating employees, there are a lot of varieties of ways in which we follow to motivate employees. Some, it is finance, that is money. Some, you need to take their family to hospital. Some is holidaying. Some is cars. Some is housing. So you need to have these talents, motivate their talent to achieve the targets of digitalization in the future. Of course, if we are looking at agriculture in Nigeria, for example, now, we have issues of food security. How do we cope up with this food security in Nigeria? With the Boko Haram, kidnappers, and all that are going on. If you go to Nasarawa now, people cannot go to farm. If you go to Yobe now, people cannot go to farm. We need to take it what the HR need to come with ideologies, ideas on how to grow short-term crop that we can produce maybe twice in a year to meet all these food security issues.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Kifas. I think you touched on a lot, which we are going to also discuss with the rest of the group, because they also introduced some of the topics that you said. Christiana, I saw your hand up, so I'll give you that opportunity to talk to us about what you would like to respond to with what Mr. Kifas said. I think one of the key issues that you touched on is the strategic importance of HR within an organization at this stage is that HR cannot just be the people who hire and fire anymore. If you do not have HR representation at the director's table telling you strategically what the HR need is, specifically for an industry that has so many challenges, and challenges that are somehow completely unforeseen. I mean, a natural disaster is not something that you can foresee within the session. So your HR has to be agile. I think that's one of the other things that you alluded to, is that agility of an HR person to come in and provide solutions where we need a quick solution for because we cannot stop producing, we cannot stop our products from being consumed, because someone else in the panel said when COVID came, there were no food, and that's not acceptable. So Christiana, I don't know if you took your hand off because I mentioned that your hand was up, but you still need to respond to that. And then I see Tommy's hand is up as well as Alfred's hand there. So if you would like to respond to that, Christiana.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Thank you. I did think we were going to get into that. I think it would have been kind of logical if we first present the issues, the complexity in agriculture itself, and then we now jump into how we HR practitioners solve it and address these issues. So I would have loved for that sequence, right? So yes, in response to that question, very quickly, is first, before we start thinking of solutions, it's important to understand the problems and the many throngs that they may have. Right? It is what these conversations was going to bring out. If we look at the digital or the new age and the impact of technology on the business, for us as practitioners, we are here to support the business. First, we look at what it means for the business, because this is how there's going to be talent to even manage. So I'll take it back. I'll retract a bit, so we don't fast track into solutions. So let's look at it from that perspective, looking at it particularly in our sector, for instance, like Omotola mentioned earlier. So we're a food and agro-allied company. And for food, we have a wide variety of food baskets, right, in FMN. However, for us, what we're trying to do as a vertically integrated business, we're now looking backward into how do we integrate? So yes, food production, your pasta, your flour mills, etc., your flour, and all of that. Now we then looked at your sugar, so we're looking back again into our vertical production system, particularly backward into how do we enable farmers in such a way that they can meet the demands, the local demands, and even sufficient for export. So if we start as practitioners, we don't take a backseat and remove ourselves from the business, focusing on the business, we're then investing ourselves in the backward integration programs, such as we're doing farm expansions. I mentioned the cassava plants. I don't know if I mentioned the cassava plant. We're looking at how we can expand production. To do that is a lot of investments into the backward integration, right? To do the sugarcane plantation, there's over $75 million investment into the sugar estate. Why are we doing this? So if the business itself is investing into backward integration, into how do we aggregate products? How do we even increase the supply, the production of crops? How do we increase that? That's when HR will now start to present itself, looking at it, what it means for the business, what it means for the country, and what it means for the global nation that we're part of, the global community that we're part of. So I would take, that's why I said I would like to take it a bit backwards. So in that regard, we will start looking at what are the issues that innovation can help us to address. We already mentioned the fast rising population. We already mentioned that, I don't know if we mentioned earlier at the introduction, we have a fast rising, I would say, reduction in availability of arable lands, right? And the need for urbanization is also a major challenge. If we're present with this, if you think about it in the sense that the hectares of land that can be used to farm products or either crop production or animal production, it's animal rearing itself. If the sizes of these farmlands are reducing in size, we have a problem at hand, right? We have a problem. So as HR practitioners, first we look at it from the aspect of what's the troubling thing for the nation, what is it for the global community, and do we have sufficient to even produce to meet the needs of the local consumers? How much more export? Do we have what it takes to reduce inefficiencies or reduce wastage? These are problems that present itself in the agricultural sector. So now, and then you also have the changing consumer preferences. We will get to that later. I won't rush into that. The changing consumer preferences is also impacting on our farm production. With the age of technology, it becomes easy for us to trace agricultural products. For instance, in flour mills, we're doing something. We joined an association. We formed an association in Nigeria, which is to look at how we can harvest wheat, how we can grow wheat locally, sufficient for production in Nigeria, such that we're not relying on our export market, particularly see what's happening in Ukraine. Again, we get to that so we don't jump ahead of ourselves. So look at how we can trace the agricultural products, which lands are more available to even grow these crops. Where are they more likely to yield higher inputs? So with technology, it presents us opportunity to trace where these products are, which lands are easier to harvest or plant this product. And of course, we also want to increase the yield for farmers. At the end of the day, they are the end of the value chain. So if you think about it also from their perspective, yes, access to funds, we don't just leave them. We also want to educate them, right? So one of the things we did in flour mills was the Flour Mills Association of Nigeria, which was an initiative to aggregate wheat in Nigeria. Aggregating wheat in the sense that we will be able to aggregate such enough that is almost sufficient. Of course, it is not sufficient, but almost sufficient to meet even half of the demand to then go for food production, which is increasing the value of these crops, right? Now, to do that, we now start to see different things and different ways that HR practitioners can come into it. So for instance, for us, for Tommy and myself, we recruit for both food production, farms, we're looking for farm technicians, we're looking for agronomics, etc. So as such, the skills that we're looking for is here and there. It's not set in one area. We also are looking for technologists who are also which is also an enabler for all of this. So whilst we're looking at crop production, livestock production, we're looking at agricultural economics, we're looking at agricultural engineering. Only then, when HR itself as a practitioner, has understood the nature of the business, the wide complexity that it presents to us, we can then start to prefer solutions, but without understanding it first, understanding the wide scale of it and the other things that are reliant on it. Of course, the economy is reliant on agriculture, and technology is going to give us an opportunity to boost that. So what would we do as HR practitioners? Understand the nature of agriculture itself, understand the solutions we want to prefer, understand how far, and be able to project what's the trajectory, what's the projection in the next 12 months, in the next 1 year, in the next 5 years, how much are we able to aggregate, how much are we able to produce. That way, it keeps our flour mills equipment working to optimal capacity. Imagine if you have like 10 lines or 8 lines of flour milling in one site, and then suddenly there's no raw materials to make them to use them at optimal capacity. That's a problem for HR. That's a problem. So for us, we're focused on looking at the problem from its source, which is the original problems that agriculture itself presents to us, the complexities. Look at the opportunities there for us as a business, and then prefer solutions, people's solutions that can then again feed back into our backward integration system. So I'll answer it from this perspective and then let someone else go forward.
Okay, thank you very much, Christiana. Tommy, welcome back. I see your hand was up first, and Judith, I see your hand went up as well. So Tommy, if you would like to add to that or continue your... Yes.
Apologies, I had some network issues earlier.
No
so when I was talking about how FMN has started helping the young talents there identify the importance of agriculture. So I'm also going to touch base on what Christiana said and what Kefas said. When Kefas was talking about the solution, about how we're going to move things forward, how HR practitioners can help. I know he's talking about how we will train and reskill our people. We need to help them as we're advancing in technology. Our people also need to be advancing. They need to grow into the system. They need to understand that things are changing. They need to research. They need to rub minds with other people in the global world to understand what are they using now? What can we do better? So this will help us and help the business or the organization as a whole. Also, I'm going to touch base on backward integration. Christiana was spot on it. In FMN, we're playing a lot in that. Backward integration is very, very helpful because we are using our own expertise, our own knowledge to be able to feed the nation. For example, when we're still going to discuss about that. With the issue of Ukraine, we already have a plan B in our head. Okay, how are we going to survive in this issue where there is no food? But there's already solution being provided by our own business. We're already thinking ahead. We are seeing the problems coming. So these are the things that technology will bring about. This is what technology will change. So our people need to adapt. We need to help our people reskill and also know that things are changing. We need to change with what is changing as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tommy. And I'm grateful that you got to finish the statements that you were making. I'm very grateful for that, for your sake as well. But it's very valuable what you were saying. And I do have a follow-up question, but maybe Alfred is going to answer it. So Alfred and Judith, but first, Alfred, if you would like to add to that.
Okay, all right, thank you so much. Christina was spot on with comments and also feedback, and Kefa as well as touched base on where the problem lies. But I also want us to look at this from this angle. We are talking about companies trying to understand what the problems are. We as HR professionals as well are trying to understand what the problems are. We know where these problems are, but sometimes we forget that behind all these things, we have policies, we have procedures, we have political instability that drive these cases. Understand? So when we have lack of transparency, starting from the government as well, and also we have poor planning, we have policies that don't drive that particular goal that we want to achieve. And these things, including financing as well, too. There are a lot of companies that are there to provide solutions to everyone, but due to one or two financial problems, they don't have that adequacy to get that solution. So all these things slow the paces in technology development and also other governance issues as well. So improving these factors that I've made mention of, I believe should contribute majorly into this particular solution that we're trying to get.
I think it's an important statement that you are making. No organization in any country that they are part of is free from regulations. So it's always something that you have to consider. It's one of your external stakeholders always. How can we trade? Who do we trade with? And how do we make sure that we do it within the framework that we're allowed to do it? Because that is a very important. It's also within your realm. As HR practitioners, because you are also those people who need to translate the policy and the new laws and everything within policy in your organization to make sure that people that people are aware of where trading needs to take place. Judith, your hand was up as well, if you would like to add to that.
I just wanted to add that we can actually look into smart farming. So there's this hydroponic farming. It's a soilless method of farming. So we have lots of rainfall in Nigeria, in Africa. So if we look at dissolving, getting nutrients from the water, then one will soak it in water, then grow it using the water. I think it's also going to help the agriculture sector a lot, instead of going to the farmland, you cultivate, you till, and they do every other thing like that. So if we invite I hydroponic method of farming. Okay, hydroponic method of farming to go a long way to help us. So it's still part of the agriculture technology we're talking about. That's what I just wanted to add to what Christina said. Thank you.
Smart. And I think what you were saying is also linking very well to something that Kefas is saying, Christiana said it, Alfred said it, and Omotola, everyone is saying smart farming. I think you started alluding to it, Kefas, you were saying short-term crops that can spring up from, I mean, I'm looking at an open field of land here in Victoria Island, which is perfect. Yes, it's used for other purposes, but small crops that can feed at least the people around it is something that we could, and smart farming, digitalization, all of this plays part in everything that you have to think of as HR practitioners, and that you have to add value to, with not just your organization, but within a nation, within a country. And I think people forget how important that role is. So we have started talking about digitalization, and our time is almost up. So we need, and I'm saying this out loud to the events team, that we need a 2.0, because what we have been talking about is about, let's see where we can leverage and where we can move forward. What are the skill shortages? We haven't spoken about that yet. How do we address the fear of the traditional farmer, looking at his crops, loving what he's doing, and sitting in a situation where someone might, because he's responsible, he grows for you as a big company, saying, well, you've got to use all of these technologies to implement, or you've got to use all of this data, and here's drones flying over. But the way in which he and she farms is what works for them, because they know their land so well. How do we as HR bring those people on board, counter their fear that the machines are taking over their jobs, because it is a real fear. How do we introduce, not just to the younger generation, but to the established and older generation, technology, digitalization, the impact that it can have, and the change that it can make within a very traditional industry, or people who have been doing it the way that they've been doing it very successfully. So how do we involve everyone to make sure that I think what did you say, optimization together with productivity, that you are also responsible for as HR practitioners. So I'm going to ask all of you to have a think about this, which would unfortunately be our last question, because after that I will give you the opportunity then to sum up for everyone listening, to say, what should we take away from this, and what should our next topic be when we talk about this as a webinar team again. So I see your hand is up, Tommy, if you would like to go first.
Thank you so much, Linda. So I'll just briefly state something. It's important we have experts that can speak the language of these people, of these farmers. Speak to them, make them know how simple this is. Go there, go to where they are, show them examples, train them on this. This is a new technology. This is going to help your farm. This is going to help you generate money. When you teach people, they will understand, they will learn. So once you teach them and you speak the same language with them, you discover that they would want to know more, and they will be interested. They will bring people around them that, oh, there's something new. So it's important we have people that speak the same language with these people, so you can carry them along and you don't leave them where they are, so that they can also grow with technology. So this is a little input I'll just add. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely, because we know that these people, they care for the land that they farm, and that is something very precious. People who are passionate about what they do. Omotola, I see your hand is up. If you would like to add to that.
Yes, thank you so much, Linda. Interesting discourse we've been having since, and thank you, Tommy, for that. What I'll add to what Toby has said is, in answering your question, Linda, on the role of machinery, technology, modern equipment, the narrative needs to be clear. We're not replacing humans with machines. What we're doing is scaling up the effort of humans. So if it's very clear that where you're planting and harvesting 100 pieces of potato, a machine will help you scale up to 10,000, 100,000, helping them see how we're taking their products from the small circle, the small farm that they're in, taking it across the world, increasing their relevance, increasing their impact, increasing the significance of what they do, and helping them impact more lives, feed more bellies, and bring more impact to the world at large. So it's in the communication, it's in making them understand what you have is golden, and the only way you can pass on what you have to the generations coming after you, which is what I said about generation picking on what our fathers and our mothers used to do. It's in helping them understand that the only way you can transfer the skill and the knowledge you have to be relevant to the generations coming after you is leveraging on the language they understand, which is technology. So we're not replacing you, we're not making you redundant, we're not telling you you don't have what it takes. What you have is golden, what you do is amazing. But two things are important here: for continuity, for knowledge transfer, and to remain relevant in the world that we have no choice. We're in that world, and that's one. Secondly, to scale up what you're doing. And it's in every balance. It's not just in agriculture. When you talk about, so for example, you have the local bakers, that their output, the production output of the bread they do in their small local manual bakery, compared to industrial bakeries. In canteens and restaurants, you have a small buka, what we call buka, on the streets. You have what you can produce with your hands compared to what machinery and technology will help you do in hundreds and thousands. So it's in the scaling up. And then what the focus of that is in the output, how the impact can go from 1 to 100, from 1,000 to 100,000, from 10 to 10,000 into millions and all of that. So those are the two communication points: transferring of knowledge and then upscaling of what you're doing, the output of what you have. Basically, thank you.
I think it's very important what you were saying. I lost you for 2 seconds there. I had to switch between narrative, but it's luckily, as you were saying, is that there is a scaling up, but the consumer is also changing in the products that they want. And thank you for that as well, because some consumer do want the produced, others do want the more natural, and. So that's also opening up for the industry and making it possible for the industry as well. But thank you very much for what you said there. Alfred, I see your hand is up.
Okay,
if you would like to
so
add.
sorry, I have to take a little much of our time. So one of the things that Omotola said that I really picked there is by these farmers having the knowledge and the idea that they need to scale up. So this is going to bring about, I've seen it in developed countries where they have these strategies for food security. Now, all what Omotola has said has brought about food security here. Because sometimes when we talk about all these things, we should always look at the nearest future. Now, with food security strategies, we can follow paths and processes that are different from adopting all these local practices that we currently have in rural and suburban areas. Because when you have poor soils, you have water scarcity, you have crop and pest diseases and unstable temperatures. And farmers who are supposed to be technologically inclined to have this data ahead. You know, there are a lot of farmers in rural areas that don't have access to televisions, that don't have access to mobile phones, to mobile devices. So, you know, when you have this technology in place, we already have them in place already, but we need people that will lecture, that will nurture them, we tell them what these things work for. So if we get local hands within the community as well, we train them, we teach them, I believe it's going to give these farmers much more insight about what technology is all about. And at least from Oxford Dictionary, pardon me to say, technology is a broad and is a broad collection of techniques, skills, method, processes in the production of goods as well. And now we are talking about production of goods, which is agriculture. So we need people on ground. You can't expect someone who is currently now, let me use Nigeria as an example, pardon me. Now, we are currently in Anambra State, and you expect someone from the Ministry of Agriculture, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, who is currently a Yoruba person, to come and lecture someone who is currently in a very, very rural area within the state. So you need someone in the state as well, in that locality that understands the language. You understand that these people that are talking about, before they get inclined with technology, it takes a lot of time. So we have this process, we must put strategies in place to ensure that they are technologically inclined. Thank you.
So very much linking to what Omotola is saying is the way in which you're communicating and making sure that your communication is very, very clear, and you open up the opportunities for everyone in the industry. Kefas, you were saying? My apologies, I interrupted.
Yes, I wanted to cite an example, a very good example, with the local farmer in Adamawa State, who have what we call the supervisors, farm supervisors. Their duties and responsibilities are, one, to connect, send out, teach them innovations, and then engage them. The local farmer there down in the village has no technology. From my own HR perspective, I think what we'll do best bet is engage these supervisors, farm supervisors, who visit them and talk to them in their local language about innovations, how to grow these simple crops, how to change their lifestyles, and how to engage them. Of course, if you don't communicate very well with them, you must have someone that can communicate with them effectively very well, their native language, and then teach them much more about these innovations or the future digitalization that we're having or talking about. Coming down to their levels, we make them feel, oh, okay, we're having people who are coming to meet our own level. For example, in Dangote, although we are part of Dangote, we have some people like in the rice farm that we are having in Kebbi State, we have Zamfara State, Kano, Yobe, and some other places. We have providers who are going to teach them how to plant business. What crop to do, what is going to give to them, the quality they are going to get, how much they're going to get, because of course the man want to know what the yield is going to get. Apart from the yield, they want to get the money he's going to make from it, so I can make meet ends. That's my own contribution.
Thank you very much, Kefa. It is important because ultimately it's about also surviving as people who own the land and people who farm the land and people who love what they are doing. And that is important if you can assist and teach and allow for these people to grow as well and to grow with the industry as well. Judith, I see you unmuted. Is there something you would like to add?
Well, I didn't even know I was unmuted. But
okay.
I was just going to add that when we are training them, it is important also to train them based on their needs. It is not enough to say, okay, all of you should go on AI training or learn how to use drones or learn how to use, all of those technology. So it is important that we identify their needs and then train them based on the specific role they are doing on the farm, like on the specific
Absolutely.
family.
Again, talking about the absolute necessity of being strategic as an HR professional, to know what your people need, the people who are in your organization. Thank you very much, everybody. I am going to ask you to do the impossible, which is within 7 minutes, the 7 of you wrap up and provide a summary as to what you think or what you would like to leave as a little nugget for the people listening. What do you think is what we are facing within the agriculture? Because we didn't get to, I mean, we touched 2 questions. As the agriculture industry, what are we facing? Where's the nuggets? What would you like people to leave this webinar with? as they go on their merry way. So I don't know if you want to get your thoughts together, or shall we just start again and me pinpointing, or is there someone who would like to start off this last 5 minutes of the webinar?
Okay.
Yes, Kefa.
I can start. I want to give you a summary that we are having food security, particularly in Nigeria now, which, if not properly addressed, even though we do not do or look into the future, theoretically, we may end up having people with hunger in the country, no money, no food. There will be a problem of surviving. And what I would like to do, I will ask private sector come up with models, do networking with other agricultural companies all over the world. Go to Thailand, go to Singapore, go to Malaysia. A complete networking, see how best they can bring best solve the problem of this food security. That's one. Number two, the security company, the security in this country also is coming so immense now. I tell you, Boko Haram is going to hit us higher and higher again in some months to come. I'm not a prophet, but I'm telling you this. What we need to do, we need food security. We need to start looking at inwardly how to grow crops that we can do where they are safe, particularly in Lagos, particularly in Ogun State. This area we don't have herdsmen and they're there. Look at those areas, those localities that are safe, and grow crops that we can produce within the shortest possible time using the innovations or using technology, so we can maintain and keep people in Nigeria. Otherwise, there will be a problem. That's my own take home. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kefa. I will say that international leadership development programs and going to learn from other countries, agriculture industries and things like that, it's really, I think, where I learned most of the things that I know about your industry and other industries as well. We go and have a look at how other people are doing it. It's fascinating, and what is happening in the international arena. And by that, I'm not saying just go to the countries that are so-called first world. Go and see how people are being innovative within the sector. I agree with you there. So, Christiana, if you would like to sum up or give us your summary of today's event.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I was still muted. Okay, thank you very much for that, for this opportunity. Yes, with everything we've talked about today, we've presented the problems, the challenges in agriculture itself, and then the possible solutions that technology can bring into enhancing co-production, enhancing the other areas of agriculture in Nigeria, and of course in the global world itself. In terms of how this interfaces with HR, or what our role is in doing this, we also talked about the need for practitioners to wake up to the call, to understand and recognize the issues, the complexity, and of course the opportunities they present to us as an organization, as a corporate entity, to address this. And of course, from a people solutions, the sort of skills, the sort of persons, the sort of communication out there, and how we integrate our processes back to the way that suits the needs or the understanding of the farmer. So I would say, in summary, that's what we've talked about. What I would like to leave with us or nugget for as practitioner, like for us in our role, like I mentioned, we already do this in FMN. We've had some anticipation, some projections. Over the projections, we're able to come up with opportunity area to aggregate crop produce. Of course, the demand on certain products or on importation is a bit high. So we're looking at ways we can mitigate against that. As opposed to that, also opportunity to showcase these farmers or signpost them to where they can get financing to finance some of the technologies they need. We also do another area, which I don't think I mentioned, which is the fertilizer. Educating our farmers in terms of how and how much what they use or apply in their farmlands to produce optimal yields. Whilst we're focusing on this, as practitioners, we're focusing on understanding, gaining and deepening our own understanding in this value chain across the value chain, food and agro-allied value chain, understanding the needs and the requirements for each of this, the sort of skills required, like I mentioned, food and agro-allied. So whilst I may be looking for an IT person, core IT, I'm also looking for a drone handler. I'm looking for someone working on heavy equipment, not to promote any brand in particular. So for us, the need for us to understand the needs for the business, the opportunities, understand the skills required, also be able to project how, if these skills are not readily available in the market, what do we do to upskill? And what do we need to do to reskill our current workforce in such a way they can be agile to respond to the changing needs that the world itself is presenting to us? That's my leading nugget.
Thank you very much. That's a lot. Tommy, if you would like to leave us with your final nugget, please.
Okay, thank you so much, Linda. So I'd like to say technology is here to stay. So we must all follow technology. We mustn't sleep. We must wake up now. We must start thinking of what technology, the advantage of what technology is bringing to us. So everyone has to wake up. It's a wake-up call for everyone. You have to carry everyone along with you as well as we're advancing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tommy. Alfred, if you would like to don't sleep, wake up. Spot on, Tommy. That's one of the comments in the chat. Yes, Alfred,
okay,
if you would like to add or give us your final note.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for having me. And I think this has been really, really innovative. But I'm going to drop some 7 points here that I want us to work on as a country now. I'm not talking about individuals now. So the first thing I want us to do, I want us to align as a country on why digital transformation, why do we need to transform into this technology that we're even talking about. The second thing we need to work on is to prepare for culture change as well. So we need to prepare for this. As we are transforming digitally, we must also prepare the minds of people on why we are transforming this. And also, as well, so we need to start small but strategic. You know, when you when you invest too much in technology at times, it tends not to yield much result. It tends not to give you that solution that you're looking for. And also, fourthly, I'm thinking of this strategy as well. So we need to map out technology implementation that we want to achieve. Because when you don't know what you want to implement this particular technology on, it tends to give you a break. It tends to cause a lot of backlog as well. Too. Also, you have to seek out partners and expertise. You have to bring in these foreign partners. You have to bring in this expertise in this industry that understands these processes, that understands this solution to it. Also, we must also, as a country, now I'm not talking as an individual, as an American, must also gather feedback and refine as needed. Once you gather feedback, you will know where to push from. You will know where to, and lastly, as well, so we need to scale and transform. Once you scale and transform, we are talking about global food security and life. So these are strategies that I believe that once we get it right as a country, we are definitely going to be the food producing country in the whole world. All right, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you very much. I agree with you there, Alfred. Judith, if you would like to, and then Omotola, I'm going to leave you with the final word. So Judith, if you would like to give us your final nugget.
Thank you very much, Linda. It's really been a very interesting session. Just one thing I want to say is agriculture is all our responsibility, because if there's no food security, everyone will starve, and then nobody will want to do that. So I would want to urge us, different platforms, and then the government to invest in training farmers, because it is one thing to talk about agriculture technology, it is another thing to make these resources available. So the more we can project and speak out for those people, the better for each and every one of us. So if the government can really come up with funds, put it in place, invest in farmers, produce everything they need, and then I think it will go a long way to save our nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Omotola?
Thank you so much. I'm going to pick on points from Christy and then from Judith, because you both took the words right out of my mouth, starting with what Judith has just said. And thank you so much, Alfred. When you say you had 7 points to share, so okay, are we just starting the session or we are ending it? You know, but great words from you as well. Thank you so much. And then to Tommy as well. The one thing I'm going away with is don't sleep, wake up, you know. So thank you. What I was just going to say to cap it off from my end is 2 things. The fact that as a nation, you know, coming from Judith's point of view, I like the fact that in very recent time, investment companies, investment professionals, there's so much awareness and activities around agri investments in the agri sector. So when they market investment options to you, there's not so much about, oh, invest in stocks, invest in Bitcoin, invest in crypto, invest in oil and all of those things. There's a lot of the investment arm of the agri sector. That is what makes me happy the most. The fact that even as everyday individuals, even when we're not in the sector, we're not working in agro-allied companies, or we don't own farms, we have that consciousness of, oh, I have a stake in farming. I can own a greenhouse. I can own, you know, other agri investment products. And it makes me feel proud, like, okay, as Nigeria, as a Nigerian, as a patriotic citizen, not only am I growing my funds or my financial portfolio, I'm also putting so much in a sector that needs a lot of attention, because there's a hype around oil, there's a hype around forex, there's a hype around other things. I think the agricultural sector takes, you know, doesn't get so much hype, because like you said, Linda, in a lot of, there's just the mentality that, oh, it's for the less educated, less exposed and all of that. And that's why the 2 biggest things that are happening to agri right now, which gives me so much joy, is the fact that we are beginning to see the relevance of tech in the agri sector. And we're also beginning to educate people, empower people to invest in tech without necessarily owning a farm or going to farm, picking up hoes and cutlass and all of that. Even as your normal day, you have a 9 to 5, or you have other businesses or things that you do, you have stakes in greenhouses and other agri investment products. So that's one thing I would love for people, anyone who's listening to this, to take that away. If you're in the capacity to bring people together to continue to educate them on investing in the agri sector, please continue to do it. And if as an individual, you get to hear about investment opportunities that will both, you know, continue to improve what we're doing in the sector and also grow your finances, please continue to do it. That's on one part. Then on the second part, building from what my colleague Christiana had said, I liked how she analyzed the point, I won't call them problems or challenges, but the points of focus on the agri sector and what we are doing as an organization, our vertical and horizontal integration. When I joined FMN a couple of months ago, one of the most important success stories that excited me the most is we're not just producing food, we're going backward to own our what's the word now? Our supply, our what's the word now? Our vendors, our suppliers. Yes, that's the word. Yes, we are owning our supply channels, our suppliers. We are collaborating with them and we are helping them. So, for example, I think the culture, one big culture we have is nothing goes to waste. So when we produce the major products that we see, all the other outlet, all the other byproducts, which should naturally go into the trash, we take them back in. Not only do we take them back into, what's that word now? There's a word.
Value chain. The value
cycle.
Yes. Not only do we recycle, not only do we recycle, we make other beautiful things out of those
premium feed products.
Yes. So it's also helps. So we are able to manage costs because we're integrating forward, integrating backward, we're integrating vertically and even horizontally, also collaborating and merging and acquiring our competitors and all of the amazing things we're doing as a business. And as HR, how we integrate that from the HR standpoint, not only understanding our business, but also ensuring that the talents who are the biggest resources that we have in our business. We are bringing them we are continuing to invest in them to a point where they continue to be a resource and a tool for success and growth. So in acquisition, because we have an understanding of the business, we are targeted, we are focused on the type, the quantity and quality of talents that we need from a manpower planning point of view. And then from a talent development point of view, we know the capabilities that they need to drive the results that we want to see as a business. We are sure of what the competencies are, what the capabilities are, and we know what the gaps are. So we are deliberate about building those capability gaps and ensuring that in terms of acquisition, in terms of capability, we're also driving retention. So what are our reward and recognition programs, and how we know the kind of talents that we need in our sector, in our farming sector, in the farms that we have. And then we're deliberate about how do we keep them, how do we retain them, how do we ensure that they stay within our business, they stay committed to our goal, our vision on feeding the nation. They don't leave us, but they're not just that they are staying with us, they're happy doing the jobs that we do. So just to build on Christy's point, in terms of, she's spoken a lot about capability and employee engagement and talent management as a whole. But as a business and as HR, understanding what the needs are for our business and ensuring that the talents who we manage, who we bring into the business, who we manage, who we motivate, and who we retain, we're all on the same page moving the business forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Tomatola. Thank you, everybody, for adding value to this webinar and being so passionate about when and what you talk about, and when you talk about agriculture. I love most of everything that you said, where it is it's an industry that feeds the nation, feeds the world. It's an industry that everyone should be supporting or have a stake in. And it's, I think, an industry that has been supporting entrepreneurs much longer than any other industry in the world. And now your opportunities are just so much bigger and brighter and more, because the need and your demand will never go away. We will always need food, we will always need innovation, and we will always have to do that by optimizing the people that we have, by optimizing the land that we have, by optimizing the product that we have. I have stolen 11 minutes of your time, which I'm very, very sorry for, but I'm very grateful that all of you, even the participants, that you stayed online and listened to everybody and listened to how passionate everybody is. I do think that we need to continue this conversation and bring most of the things that we didn't get to talk about to the forefront as well, for the general population to also understand what your industry and how important your industry is. So keep this, watch the space, ladies and gentlemen. I think we need agriculture 2.0. Next conversation, continuation on. Thank you so much, everybody, for your time, for your persuasiveness to be on the panel, for signing in again when it was a problem to the network has been a problem. So I'm very grateful for that. Thank you very much, everybody, and have a glorious afternoon. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you, and bye.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Christiana.
everyone. Nice to
Bye. Nice meeting you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you
you.
so much.